Like, you are picking it into the Doom. We have seen that happen before.
The side. Here by Signal Ultra.
10 seconds.
Farm up and just get bigger. You have some great scaling into the late game as well. The Ags upgrade gives you a lot more.
Games that we have seen it pop out. Signal Ultra are yet to also choose their mid lane, so they can definitely go for the Ember Spirit counter if they do wish. As it's planning to run a Skyrath Mage core, I don't think that'll be the case though.
It would be a bit rough. I don't think that would work out too well. I feel like the hero is still going to be really good in this lineup. Of course, natural combination with a Void. You're just going to be able to do that, dish that damage out you need early on very quickly. So there's a lot of value in that. I like the ban out from TNC. That Ember Spirit would have caused a lot of issues for their TA. So this is just giving Armel that much of a better time down mid. We'll see how else they close out this draft. It does feel like they will need a laner, of course, are looking at Gabby's here to still has to pop out.
10 seconds remaining. 10 seconds remaining. 10 seconds remaining. 5 seconds.
I mean, safe choice in that life.
5 seconds remaining.
Still seeing Void. They'll go for the chaos.
Okay,
side.
I don't think lose our signal. Really backline in this case. Sky is just going to be very vulnerable to Chaos Knight. You have enough team fight and control from the rest of your team that you're not going to be too worried.
10
You're quite early on, but you can definitely buy speed that team as long as you play aggressively. The key thing is you have to play aggressively with your Doom and Beastmaster and early pickoffs. Keep them busy away from your TA while she's still farming up. You will still need maybe an early Midas or early Armlet depending. Once you have that, you should be pretty active on the map. I like that pick. Signal, they've got to pick a mid laner now that can deal with that Chaos Knight. I guess the OD is still in the pool. That is something that they could fall back to, and it would certainly play out quite nicely up against TA, up against the CK. Pretty much everyone is just gonna melt to a hero like that, so a lot of value if they go for that OD. If they go with a Timber instead, fair enough, right? Like, it eats strength heroes quite well, so it's gonna cause havoc up against that Chaos Knight early on at the very least. It's gonna be interesting to see that laning though.
I mean, in the end, with the reactive armor, Arnold shouldn't be able to do too much, right? Like, even with the Deso, although it's great, the Timber is always going to have the reactive armor to kind of combat that. We've been seeing the Timber banned out much for the past couple days. This is the first time we've had the pleasure of seeing it pop out in a game. And it's the last game of the whole closed qualifier for SEA. I don't know. It should be interesting. It definitely does go against the Chaos Knight. Mind you are picking this to a Doom. So that could be somewhat problematic. Of course, like you mentioned, in the laning stage, Armel should really have no problems.
Yeah, it's one of those times where we see that Timbersaw mid again. I think we've seen it a couple times before. I'm not completely fond of it. It does work out nicely, I think well to mid lane. I'm not sure how much flexibility you have as a Timbersaw nowadays to really zip in as the game goes on in that lane, at least in the laning phase, of course. We'll see. The one key thing, at the very least, for the Timbersaw is it comes online fast, doesn't require farm, compared to the TA who will kind of just rice farm, come around 10 to 20 minutes. Just until the death, at the very least. You should expect a bit more activity from CIGNAL, and you should expect TNC to take it easy from Armel. It'll be down to Gabby and KP to pick up the pace there, to buy them time. So one of the key things for TNC is giving Gabby that good start. We have seen CKs fall behind before, and they do not flash farm well. So once you go behind, you're just really behind for pretty much the rest of the game.
Certainly are. We had an experience with that the other day where it just seemed like they could never get this CK online. We'll also have to keep an eye out on the build of Gabby, whether he does go for the armlet into the Heart Rush, which we saw the other day, and it just didn't work out. Of course, a lot of pressure on KP. It's not going to be an easy game for him. Plenty of raw targets he needs to go for, but you do have to watch out for that Abaddon Aphotic Shield, which can just purge this off. But he does play this hero quite a lot. We'll get started. Looks like top lane. They are actually going on to Nando right. Nando will be able to time walk all that damage off. Grim will be there anyway, just in case. Of course, we saw last game, or the game before, I believe, Grims was on the older Titan, and he was quite scary. You've got to be very careful with that Astral Spirit. He did manage to get first blood on Tim's just by right-clicking. But we'll see if Tim tries to avoid it this time. Force for the same.
You really don't want to be copying those right clicks from a hero like this. And Grims is trying to set himself up there, but looks like Tim knows better now. He's staying a bit further back, so not gonna have that silly snap fest we had earlier on.
Up against Armel. Really favor Armel for quite a while as he can spam refraction. James, he won't be able to do much about. And those reactive armor charges at level 1 really isn't much at all. You can already see Armel really applying the pressure to the assault. In fact, he's almost got him down. James, he has to be very careful. He does commit a lot of whirling deaths towards Armel as well, so he does lose quite a bit of HP. For the bot lane, Gabby on the CK. We'll be there with March on the Doom, and they have Van and of course Eris there, the Skyra. Van playing that core Abaddon role, it seems. Shouldn't have too much of a hard time in this coming up as the Abaddon. There's not really much that can shut him down, especially while he's got his Skyrath there. But speaking of the Skyrath, he has to be careful as that chain lightning that March has taken from the neutral creep does a hell of a lot of damage. But what we're talking, James, he does end up losing the Armel in the mid lane.
That is to be expected, right? This is something we've been talking about the draft. Timbersaw is just not going to have a very good time up against that TA down. And Armel certainly does abuse that spell kit to really just force Jamesy to go back to base.
well ahead of anybody else. He's just juggling between that jungle and of course the lane and of course home about him. KP
Signal to recover from. Oh, an aggro lands in as well. But it's gonna be hard to recover from this one. The Void farms okay. Fastest in the world as a flash farmer, you can still make it work, but you really want either a Maelstrom or a Midas to accelerate that farm for you and also enable you to make use of that early chrono. Without any of those coming out, heck, without even a power treads up on Nando, his level 6 is really not going to be as impactful as you'd hope.
top lane, they are going to try and gank KP now. He already took that T1 tower. Concussive shot does come out. They should be able to get the Echo Stomp off, though no, they don't really try. And surprisingly enough, they actually leave KP alone.
You know, Mike, I want to point something out as well, just really quick. Check the win probability. It's now, it's just a die. I think it's busted for the die right now for us, for some reason.
All right, this one I don't know about. 100% for Signal Ultra.
Radiant's
Well, Gabe, we'll see if Gabe is correct this time, John. He was correct last time. So, I'd be impressed if he was. Armel, double damage rune on the TA now. Has a nice little trusty shovel for himself.
Yeah, I like this item build-up from Gabby as well. He is going for the armlet, so he wants to be active early on. This is exactly what you want to see, especially when you're playing with that TA who will require some farm time. I mean, even the progression towards that blink is going to be pretty fast. He's just about 700 gold away, but you'd still want the Desolator on top of that anyway, and that just means you are going to have to buy some time there.
Gabby's been farming pretty well. Like, they haven't put any pressure on this man. It's unlike the last time we saw a CK where there was a lot of pressure. Gabby just free farming right now. Van hasn't been able to do anything on the Abaddon to stop him. And Van's farm has struggled a hell of a lot. 2.7k net worth.
Radiant's middle tower
Jamesy at least finds a courier off. March won't mind dying for that. Oh my, that's a big mistake. Nando will stick around though, will steal some creeps off Gabby, but
Dire's structures are fortified.
he's not going to be happy about that one.
Oh, definitely not. You can see he was going for the greedy play, trying to catch both. He just kind of misses out on it. And unfortunately enough, that does mean that the spell isn't as successful as you'd want. They do get that support kill. It's still not ideal. We always talk about that timing around the first chrono. And you do, you know, just getting a kill is kind of good, but doesn't feel like it's enough.
Looks like Gabby's starting to get active across the map. Grim's going to be the target. He does go down to Armel, and now Jamesy trying to punish back. They'll get the tier 1 as well. And looks like Jamesy may lose his life here. He's really not as tanky as you would hope. 24 active rearmor stacks. It will be enough, or maybe not. Armel can't quite take him out. They will back off. I mean, they got the tier 1. They got a kill. Now Gabby rotates to the bot lane where they get the Doom off on the Void, and March actually escapes with his life intact. They won't find the Void though.
Oh, the arrow? Cool.
Tim's trying to sneak one while they weren't watching. Won't find it. Good attempt though. So a 4-1 though. 4k net worth lead for TNC 11 minutes in. Pretty damn good lead. And these towers, they're still melting. I mean, KP's still forcing in this top lane. Van's been forced to try and defend that. The bot lane's now being pushed in by Gabby. And this is just buying more space for Armel, who already has the blink up, and who have the Desolator up pretty darn soon.
TNC is really hitting all their timing here. Every single thing that should be happening is happening. In fact, it's going really fast. The fact that that tier 2 up top isn't very safe, the fact that the Timbersaw can't just go between that tier 2 and tier 3 to find that farm, or you're just not getting the maximum potential from that Timbersaw. What you tend to see is, at this point in time, you're big enough, you maybe have a pipe, or you maybe have a Vanguard or Hood of Defiance, and then you just play between tier 2, tier 3, annoy the hell out of someone by shoving in a lane that way. It's not happening just yet. They're forced to respond to TNC's movements.
Bot. Nice stomp out onto 2. Do they follow up with it though? No, they definitely do not. Nando does have the chrono available to try and go for another hero pick-off. They'll just force down that bot T1. I don't believe TNC will even try to defend this, and there's really no need to.
Radiant's bottom tower is under
They'll just
attack.
let it go down. Nando will eventually take it for himself. While that's happening though, TNC will find something even better in the Roshan. And with Armel there with the melt strikes, and with KP with all his creeps, it is a very, very quick process. Suppose you could make something happen, but you could look at Armel. Deso up now. BOT's come up on KP, so he has high ability. Of course, Gabby has the armlet, and he's going for what looks like an Echo Saber up next. Bot lane, they are going to engage onto Jamesy, who is melting to Armel. They will emphatic shield him up. Doom will be there on the abandon, and now Chrono. It is pretty darn nice with the Mystic Flare. They'll take down KP on the Beastmaster. They try for March. They've lost Grims though, and now it looks like they may want to back out. Full Signal Ultra though, Jamesy is taking a lot of damage off that CK, and not really being too phased by it either.
The prize is mine.
And so although it kind of looked good for TNC, they do end up losing out 2-1. And you're starting to see Jamesy on that Timber just a little bit too tanky for Gabby to try and take out.
Certainly is. I think that's going to be an issue for the next at least 5 to 10 minutes, specifically on Jamesy. That's really just the moment when Timbersaw is nigh unkillable. Once that Guardian Greaves is up as well, it's just going to be obnoxious, right? So Jamesy should be able to get a little bit more done.
Eris is down. Mel does find the kill, but it may cost him the Aegis. He will refract up. He's rounded though by quite a few heroes, but TNC is coming in to try and help out. There's the Aegis going. Grim's Echo Stomp is not going to be there in time. The Roar from KP will push him, but Armel still copying too much damage, but no! The Glimmer Cape will save him though. No, Nando, he does find it in the end. Now Tim's just trying to get the hell out of there. And Armel got a little bit greedy, but March, he will find a trade in the form of Grims. Can they punish further? Signal still trying to run away. March, who are you aiming for? He's going after Nando, and here comes Gabby on the CK. Still though, it's a 1-for-1 trade once again, but they do find the Void. And for some reason, they decided to drop a mango tree in the middle of all that. It does get chopped down by KP immediately. The man hates mangoes.
Well, in the end, it is still a slightly more favorable trade for Signal. Just taking out that TA is still a pretty big win for Signal, just because TA is worth a lot more. So Signal gonna be pretty happy about that. That does let our Void finish up Strom as well. We're gonna be doing a bit more damage overall, speed up the farm. And Signal, you know, they're the guys now with the draft that plays around that timer. Void ultimate gonna be up in about 15 seconds. They need to make something happen that time span. They need to find a big kill, find a big pick-off, and just keep doing that every single time. I think if Signal can keep that up, this deficit of 6k is not going to matter too much in a few minutes' time.
Well, Mel looking for more already. He just respawned up. He wants some heroes to take out. He won't get lucky enough to find anybody quite yet. Nando on the low ground has Chrono up.
Dire's bottom tower has been denied.
We'll see the Echo Saber now up on Gabby's CK, so a lot more damage output on him. You can really see the urgency in TNC this game. They just aren't willing to wait. They want to keep forcing fights and making it very hard for Signal Ultra. Gabby forcing in the creep wave towards that tier 3 tower. Jamesy will be there to defend on the Timbersaw. Signal just sticking as a team, not splitting up, not giving any kind of leeway to TNC to try and get a pick off. TNC do still hold the net worth lead at 6k. Armel at 10k net worth right now on the TA. Trying to go into that BKB. And you'd imagine once the BKB's up on TNC, they may actually just start forcing the tier 3 towers.
Definitely nothing holding them back from getting that done. So just waiting out on that one big item. Of course, you have to respect Signal. They still have that team fight up. They do have the Chronosphere up, every single spell up, and they are just clumped up as 5. They understand that they don't have the map control to take these fights to TNC, but if they can somehow bait TNC in, their counter fight is going to be really good.
Oh, 20-minute
Dire's top
about to
tower
hit.
is under
Of course,
attack.
both teams going to start fighting over outposts. Nice arrow from Tims. But they will still get the outpost. But look at TNC immediately trying to force in that tier 2 tower. And sometimes it's a trade you have to make. Do you want the outpost? Do you want your tower to remain? Luckily for Signal, TNC does not have any creeps in the mid lane to really try and force that tower down. So they will be forced to just push in that top creep wave once again and just maintain the Dire control, rather than control over the Dire jungle.
Almighty money. Regeneration.
For the hunt.
Signal gonna smoke up. Again, Chrono is up. They're ready to fight now. Be massive if they could find a big pick off like Armel. Though he does have his BKB up now, so he may be willing to fight as long as that Chrono is not available. It is though.
Dire's top tower
Continue making
is
their way
under
towards
attack.
Armel. He does run the opposite way now, so it looks like they will completely avoid any kind of engagement.
Dire's bottom tower is under attack.
Now TNC once again in that Dire side jungle.
Shadows take us.
Could be dangerous for them, but they pop the Moonlight Shadow and it looks like they want to try and force a fight. Nando. Oh, he's going to be there. Oh no, he does get caught out and they caught March as well, but the arrow connects from Tims. Still, they do get the TA kill. That's a massive deal for the side of Signal Ultra as they try to chase KP. So they will lose out on that, but they find something even better in the form of Gabby. That CK just didn't seem to do anything. The Phantasm Illusion just missing.
Radiant's top tower
And
is
Signal
under attack.
win a massive team fight. They got both the position 1 and 2 of TNC.
That's some really good game sense coming out from Signal. Just having the dust on hand, popping it right then, allowed them to figure out they were being rotated on, and they just land a really good Chrono. It looked a bit wonky when the arrow hit, but everyone else was still outside to follow the damage. Immediately take out Armel, who is the main damage right now, and once he was gone, it was just very easy for Signal to clean up. So that's exactly what they need to do and what they need to keep doing. Just try to find those kinds of fights. Eventually you will turn the tide to yourselves. You've also got a lot of key items flying out now on a few cores. And Mjolnir was up for Nando in that last fight, and now they have Jamesy with their Guardian Greaves, so he's going to be much harder to kill off. The entire team is just going to be that much tankier, and that's going to make it much harder for TNC to try to burst these heroes down.
It certainly is. Still, Armel definitely wants to take advantage of that 10-second BKB charge he has while the chrono is not available. He's got about a minute to make use of that. Could be in the Roshan pit though, which is respawning in about 10 seconds, and TNC are already ready for it. And I wonder if Signal Ultra will try to contest without that Void ultimate. Definitely doesn't seem like the wise decision, but you don't want to give that Aegis away for free. Well, they'll get started.
Just what are you hiding?
Signal don't really have vision around the Roche pit either, so they may not be aware this is happening. They do scan it out. It may be way too late though, and yeah, it definitely is. Roshan is already gone. The Aegis will go the way of Armel, and the Cheese will go the way of Gabby. I suppose on the bright side, they will have the chrono up if they do try to force a tier 2 tower. But they'll smoke first, TNC.
Haste.
Nando does get spotted by Gabby.
Vanish.
Moonlight Shadow now to be popped. Nando seems to understand they're around him somewhere, and he does go back in towards his base. Shadow.
Radiant's bottom tower.
See, again, gonna have to wait for the right opportunity. At least Gabby will try to force in that bot tier 2. But there could be an engagement up top. They will be fighting over that outpost at the 25-minute mark. Signal gonna try and take it now, and they do grab it, but Armel jumps straight in after Eris. He doesn't find the kill quite yet, and he did use that BKB very early on, but they do get it in the end. Now the Doom on the Timber, not allowing him to do anything throughout this team fight. Where is the Void? Not around at the moment. He's still running in. He has the chrono. Will he use it though? Raw comes out again on the Timber, but there is the chrono. He found 3 of them. It doesn't seem like it's gonna be good enough. There's no damage output. The flare though comes down. They'll find at least the Aegis. Earthsplitter doing a lot of damage, but still Signal trying to go after Gabby on that CK. They just don't have the damage. They'll go after March instead on the Doom. It's a much easier target. And who's next? KP, the closest target to them. Do they have the lockdown? James will get in there with the Chakram. TNC still trying to just outrun them. They could try and turn. It doesn't look like they're interested. Melt strike to Nando, and that's going to be it. That fight, it was a 2-for-1 trade. It was a buyback on Eris and a dieback for that matter on Eris, but it still seems to go Signal Ultra's way.
I'm sure they don't mind too much. They managed to take out that Aegis. They managed to force out a couple of spell usages from TNC as well. Sure, you expend the Chronosphere there, but you've got a bit of a time where TNC, they don't have the Doom, they don't have the Phantasm. They are a bit vulnerable as well, so you can try to force something out, particularly once Eris is up. He's going to be a bit of your magic damage coming in these fights, and once that's settled, you could probably at least find a pick-off if you really wanted to.
Under attack.
Quickening Charms popping out. Cooldown's gonna be lower. Looks like again Armel going into the dire side jungle, being very aggressive with his positioning. He's getting very close to a butterfly now. You see Nando with that Lincoln Sphere, trying to protect himself from that Roar, or the Doom for that matter. He'll be going for a butterfly up next as well.
Under attack. Dire's top tower is
Bad.
under attack.
Just gonna cop an arrow. Won't really matter though, there's no follow-up to it. Signal Ultra should be able to get this tier 2 tower very, very easily.
Dire's top
And
tower.
by the time they're done, they'll have the chrono back up, so
Radiant's bottom tower is under
they could try and force another
Radiant's bottom
smoke,
tower has fallen.
or just defend their top tier 3 tower, which was being pushed in by KP once again. TNC, I mean, they've still got a 9k net worth lead, but I'm not sure how concerned they should be. Gabby, as a CK, it does tend to drop off at those later stages of the game, whereas the Void, it just doesn't.
It's gonna be a bit rough. Like, he is rushing that heart, and we have seen CKs go for that heart, somehow still end up having minimal impact. Right now, Gabby's damage is still pretty darn good. And he
Radiant's
is
middle
managing to
tower
at
is
least
under
burst
attack.
down his squishier heroes. He isn't doing so well up against Jamesy anymore, and even Nando, if you don't stun lock him, he's basically just he has enough time between time walks to still fight.
Radiant's middle
So you
tower
really got to
is
watch
under
out. There
attack.
is a slight timer here for TNC on that CK at the very least. Armel should be able to maintain relevancy into the late game.
Radiant's middle tower
The
has
bulk of the
fallen.
damage as this game goes on.
We do have another pause, this time from Signal Ultra. Bit of
Pocket loss.
Pocket
no, pocket,
loss.
Mike. He's losing his pocket.
That's not good.
Yeah, James Bolsa. That is pocket in Tagalog. So
Thank
just
you,
making
John.
fun. Ah,
Signal Ultra still behind. We'll have a look at that win probability, and it is still apparently 100% their way. So
it's bugged out.
There's nothing to worry about for Signal Ultra. They've got this game in the bag.
Yeah, Gabe has declared it so.
Yes,
TNC will have to play in the minors.
absolutely.
And that's it. Oh, there you go. They're resetting your internet. Oh! Fine. I mean, there's a typhoon happening. I can't completely blame them. So, you know, the lines are going to be torn up. Which is okay. In this one case, I can be understanding, Mike.
Very good, John. Good to hear it.
Just for now. Not tomorrow.
Absolutely not. Hopefully, Signal Ultra, or rather Nando, has found his pockets. Definitely important to have those pockets available during these games. Jamesy. Last one to reconnect.
You know, I would love to be a fly in the wall here and just hear what both teams are going through.
I mean, it's a
It
lot of
must be
pressure.
tense. Yeah, like,
Yeah.
it's tense. You've got that. You've got, you know, national pride is a bit on the line. I mean, at the very least, everyone... Wow, it must be really bad if everyone's disconnecting that much.
Well, it's a typhoon.
but-
though. I
Yeah,
imagine typhoon bad.
Yeah, it tends to be. I've never experienced them because in my part of the country, in my part of the Philippines, we actually don't get typhoons passing through.
Well, aren't you
So-
privileged?
Yeah, it's kind of... Yeah, I mean, it's nice to not have that. We do have earthquakes, though, much more often, which they're not like earthquakes that do wreck buildings. So, although the past two ones have wrecked a couple of buildings in different cities, my city's not quite in this. You know, it's not the whatchamacallit, what do you call it? Center point? No. What do you call that term, Mike? Do you have any idea what I'm talking about?
No
No.
idea, John.
Of course not.
No idea.
Of course not. How could I expect you to know?
Well, I'd have to be listening to know.
That's fair enough.
Just joking. This is a bit of an unfortunate pause, John. Third game, final game, and Signal Ultra. I mean, this is not the way you want to have your last game of the qualifiers going, especially considering this is the game that decides whether to go to the major or not.
Yeah,
Neither-
it's just pivotal.
Neither team really wants to lose like the momentum that they were having in that game, and the more time you spend not playing, the more time you kind of lose that groove that you're in. And that's more unfortunate for TNC, I would argue. You are currently ahead by 10k net worth.
It's gonna be really interesting to consider how well how well these teams will play. Like, you have to factor in that the Southeast Asian games are happening and in like a few days. So I'm trying to recall, like for Dota 2, I want to say it's Signal Ultra playing, but I'm gonna have to double check. If it's Signal, I think that's actually gonna coincide with... Oh no, it's a droid. Okay, but they've got Eris and Van as subs. Wait, if it's a droid, are they still in for... Yeah, are they actually in? Or am I not seeing this right? A droid... No, okay. Because if any of them had, like, matches for the minor qualifiers, which are, I believe, in 2 days, that would be a scheduling conflict. So I'm not sure which takes precedence in that case.
I'd imagine the major would, right?
You would think, but I'm not sure how much leeway you can push against your government committees and pull out of an inter-regional game. Like, that is like on a different level. It's like outside of the DPC, yeah, the prize pool is probably not amazing as well, but this is very much an issue of actual national pride. So unfortunately enough, that's not going to be an issue as far as I can see for most of these national teams. Like, no. It would have been an issue if... Oh, actually... No, okay, that's Barrack X. No.
Maybe just confirm before you
No,
go
I'm
any
looking.
further.
I'm looking. It would have been an issue if Fnatic had to play minor qualifiers, mainly because Jabs and Savage are playing for Thailand, which actually sounds really scary. That's pretty stacked, I have to say. Like, for the SEA Games, Thailand, that's one to watch out for. And I guess Indonesia, like Barrack X, you can't really count out. Like, they haven't had the best run so far, but they've got Jokam, and I think that's a guy I can always cheer for. You've got Nuts over in Singapore as well, and Paulson, although they don't have the big names from Singapore playing this time around. And for the Philippines, it's basically a droid, which, again, they have a bit of an edge playing these qualifiers. But still, that's going to be interesting. Like, how much the meta is going to be influenced by this. They are playing on a new patch as well. It kind of reminds me of the ESL IP, Mike. If you remember casting those, like, a lot of these teams are from there. Like, the Myanmar group is pretty much what, Reckoning, if I recall right. Kind of miss casting those games.
Yeah, they were pretty fun. We should be having them soon again anyway. Too big of a deal.
It's been pretty busy. I believe India has DreamHack coming up fairly soon. Unfortunately, no Dota 2 there, but it seems like a pretty happy event. So, good on them. Looks like it's going to be a pretty fun time there.
No word from Signal Ultra. Of course, they can't really talk considering all of them disconnected, but it doesn't look good. That is
it definitely doesn't.
That is a very long disconnect.
Maybe they're switching to a different carrier. Maybe they're trying to pop on a wireless modem, which is really not ideal. They're probably exploring their options here. It's gonna be rough. It's surprising that TNC isn't facing that same issue from wherever their team house is. But, you know, that's a good thing. That's not a bad thing for TNC. That's a good thing.
Well, I suppose even if they did, though, TNC would probably have a lot of backups, considering it's a major organization, whereas Signal Ultra is a little bit smaller.
They are, like, on an international scale, for sure. I think Signal in particular has really been making strides in trying to establish themselves as a premier esports organization in the Philippines. I think they're pretty damn close to it. Like, I believe they were the champions of the Nationals, you know, that Philippine League, all Philippine League. So they did come out on top there in Season 1.
Right.
And that was a pretty good showing. They have been kind of sticking with the same exact lineup as well. So these guys have played together for a very long time. And hopefully enough their internet comes back. This is one of the longer pauses we've been stuck in. I'm surprised you're not talking about your life right now, Mike.
There's not much to talk about, John. It's all a disaster. I'd rather not depress myself at this time of the night.
I mean, you know, it's funny to think about. I mean, it's not funny. It's kind of sad, but it's a strange coincidence. My country is going to be flooding up, and Australia has the bushfires.
It's not good. It's
definitely not.
The whole world is basically having quite a few natural disasters. It's really pretty bad.
You have learned nothing.
What else is there? Like, I'm kind of unaware. I know there was two.
I'd rather not talk about natural disasters. It's a bit depressing.
Miles away.
Don't you think?
It is, but what can you do? The world is. It happens, right? It's just.
It does happen.
It's just a way of things.
Very, very upsetting.
Like this kind of disconnect. I'm wondering whether or not the admin actually steps in at some point.
Well,
There
what can
must
they
be
do?
pause time
Signal
rules.
Ultra's clearly having technical difficulties. Like, props to the admin for giving them time, and props to TNC
Yeah.
for not complaining about it. Obviously, TNC understands the situation.
Yeah, I think you'd look pretty. It would be pretty rough to have the rule book here.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah.
Tim's, hi. They're gonna start talking to each other.
Miles away.
Poor March.
Oh,
The sports never get appreciated, John. Never.
oh, definitely. I mean, this is a pretty good showing for March. You know, you compare that to his first support Doom game. That went pretty atrocious. This one's pretty good. He is working towards an Ags, and he's having a lovely little time in the jungle, just kind of walking around. He's got a blink. Honestly, actually, he only has a blink and a whole bunch of jungle items and his boots. So, he's having much better impact with just those items than I'd expect.
Well, now we're rolling. 32 is the number
32.
for March. It's a good number.
Gotta roll higher. It's okay. From 0 to 100, that's like lower than average. Lower than the middle. So
March asked them to roll back. Tim's, do you have the balls to roll, sir?
why don't you roll, Mike?
I'd rather not. It's a professional game, John. I'd better stay out of it.
I saw that ending from miles.
And Armel does not roll. Tim's does not roll either. No rolls going on. Nobody having fun.
No one wants to be friends with March.
Poor March.
That's a bit mean.
We appreciate you, March. Don't you worry.
He's a great guy. You know, I wonder. You're gonna find this funny. I wonder if they've had dinner. It's 10:22 p.m. at GMT +8, UTC +8. Have they all had dinner? Has everyone had dinner? I hope they have.
That seems to be your concern every time we get this late. Have you had dinner, John? Is that why you're up?
Oh yes, yes. I've had a week-old pizza, probably a week and a half old pizza. Very satisfying.
What kind of pizza, John?
It's hard to describe. I'm guessing it's something called a Manhattan slice from Yellow Cab, which if you're from the Philippines, you'd probably know. And you can probably flame me for my pizza choice. But all I can describe it is it tasted right on the edge of not being good, but edible. So I'm very okay.
Well, March is asking a serious question. It has been
Oh, here
quite
we
a
go.
wait now.
Yeah, I mean, the rule book has to come out at some point.
It's not
You
really
can't
a
just
rule.
indefinitely. No, it's definitely rule booking. Like there is a set amount of time you can pause for every team.
No, naturally, but I
That's
think
just-
March isn't really throwing the book at them. I think he's just kind of saying, hey, what do we do here?
I mean, it's either you wait or you ask for the rules to be enforced.
Not there.
Why Mark would? Why Mark would he?
Oh, no.
Armel. Oh, this is just like those Steam chats you get from random bots. That is a pretty good question, though. Okay, there we go. And
But
after,
no, Ultra, they're not going to just lose if they don't reconnect.
I don't think they immediately lose, but maybe they just unpause and it's basically free farm for until
so they
Signal comes
lose.
back. It's not a straight out loss. Like, it's not a straight out forfeit. They just run out of pause time.
So you're telling me that Dota Plus is going to be wrong because they disconnected. Signal Ultra
Yeah.
clearly had a 100% win chance, John. I'm
Yeah.
going to be very upset if TNC win just because this disconnection happened.
Yeah, you know what? That is actually a very... Yeah, there you go. So, that's an interesting thing to raise up. I wonder if there's any tournament organization that has, like, a clause for what you would describe legally as acts of God. So, say a typhoon would be considered that, you know, like natural disasters or natural occurrences.
I don't think that really.
Yeah, I mean, of course you wouldn't have a clause for that, because that's way too much legalese for a set of rules, but you do run into situations like this as well.
Well,
So
the
a signal will... Yeah,
The admin's
it's like-
doing his best. I mean, the admin can only do what the admin can do. He's doing his absolute
Yeah.
best. He has stated that Signal Ultra has restarted their network.
Get your pitchforks out for March in case. Gabby's throwing him under the bus.
If this is how TNC...
Yeah, no, this is... Oh, that's just not...
I mean, clearly they're winning. Let's not take that away from TNC, right? They're 10k ahead.
Right. They're winning, but you can argue that Signal has so much going for them. They've been taking a few of these fights. They've been finding Armel. They've been bouncing it out with TNC. Their combination is just starting to come online. You're just starting to see their Void get that farm up. You're seeing the Wombo combo really taking shape, and this happens. So, right. Like, you look at the stats, yeah, 12 to 8, 29 minutes in, 10k lead for TNC. They are looking pretty good. But as this game progresses, it's not a dead set win. You take a look at that map, even in terms of map control. And don't check Dota Plus because that is completely wrong.
What?
But it's I can't doubt the AI. The AI will kill me if I doubt it. Okay, so you've got all of these situations happening, and you've just got this unbearable pause that just can't go on, right? Like, no matter what the cause is, you just can't do this. So it's going to be rough, and there are definitely going to be a lot of people mad in chat. Very mad at more than likely TNC. But there's only so much you can do here. Like, you can't expect the guys to...
Hold on a minute. There's no reason for chat to be mad at TNC. I mean, you can't wait all night.
Yeah, exactly. You can't
sure.
wait all night. Like,
No, they're not going to be mad. I mean, apart from, you know, the memes and stuff, I'm pretty sure everyone's pretty reasonable.
are you... no, I'm not. Well, you know, it's... Nah, you can't say that. No, I'm pretty sure chat will just be memeing about TNC winning by unpause.
Yeah, but that's meming.
It goes beyond memeing. Like, they meme it, but they're also half serious, Mike. Like, it just happens, right? So you're gonna have that conversation as well about the last game in a best of 3 just ending this way. If it does end this way, it's not gonna be the best luck. But that is how the hive mind kind of works, you know. It's just the way the loudest shout, you know, the people that shout loudest are just the ones that kind of get heard. And you do see a lot of arguments in chat about TNC's performance, right? Like, it has been up and down throughout these close qualifiers. And this series is arguably one that they should not be drawing 1-1 to. Very arguably, they should not be 1-1 to Signal Ultra, right? They should be on a different level. On stats, on paper, with the players they have. And Signal, they're putting up a great fight. But they're going to go for it.
Alright, March is going to go for it. It's quite reasonable. They've waited an extra 7 minutes.
All right. Yeah.
And yep, Signal Ultra, nothing they can do, but
Oh.
Armel's here to save the day. He's had enough of March's tyranny. Armel says no. March, you will take a seat. We will keep waiting.
All right.
Oh, Armel,
So-
guy. All right, Armel's trying to get Reddit karma. All right, fair enough, Armel.
So they're basically just giving away their own pause time. I mean, they're not giving their pause time, but they're giving the equivalent of their own pause time away. You know, so they're giving them an extra chance here. So there you go. Reddit, bring it out for Armel.
I love these TNC boys. Bloody hilarious these guys are. You know, speaking of John,
March, right under the bus.
you know, March, we were fans of you, sir, but Armel's the real hero in all this. So everyone, please upvote any Armel posts. Give him as much Reddit gold as possible. He deserves it. And well, March is, of course, a businessman. He wants the major over friendships. Armel, though, he's a loving guy. Wants to keep his friends close. John, we were talking about pizza before. While we were waiting,
Yeah.
do you agree with the age-old argument that pizza, or rather pineapple, does not or does belong on pizza?
That's a tough one. I don't personally
Don't-
go out looking. I don't go out looking for Hawaiian pizza.
Don't be offensive.
But I'm not-
John. Is it yes or no?
I'm not offended by pineapple in pizza. I don't go looking for it, but I'm not offended by it.
You like
It's
it or not?
it's fine. I don't like it. I don't dislike it. I'm just neutral with it. Like
Oh,
like Sweden
come
is
on,
with
man.
World War II and World War One. You know, with Switzerland. Sorry. You know, you're. I'm just neutral. I don't take any hard stance. I don't mind it. I don't love it. I don't hate it. I honestly find the people that absolutely hate attention to something you actually hate, which brings people who love it in, and you're having conversation about something you'd rather forget. You know, it's like, if you truly hate pineapple in pizza, you will ignore pineapple in pizza.
You're very philosophical tonight, John. Very.
You don't have a conversation. Yeah, it's just the way I am. But yeah, pineapple in pizza.
It's fantastic, by the way, for the any viewers
Oh.
watching. Pineapple
Oh.
pizza is. John, it deserves the spot on pizza. I mean, people
Look,
keep arguing
for
to me.
For some reason, I expected you to be the kind of guy who would hate pineapple in pizza. I'm not sure why.
Pizza. I love it. I think
Alright.
it's fantastic.
You know, there was this amazing sandwich from McDonald's Singapore, and I've talked to you about it before. It's their buttered chicken sandwich, and that thing is amazing. Absolutely, like the bun is nice. It's a bit too greasy, but it's really good when you're just wanting something fast. The chicken's really well done. The cheese and the chopped cabbage inside is great. I have to say that's one place I don't want my pineapple in, though. Like, it really kind of ruins the taste of that sandwich. So there are moments where I like pineapple, but on the Singaporean McDonald's butter chicken sandwich, definitely a no-go. I ordered that without the pineapple. It is excellent that way. And yeah, it's just a bit of a segue, but pineapple.
Pineapple's good.
Oh no, like I love pineapple as a fruit. Like it's really damn good.
Whew, we've gone pretty low in the conversations here. While this
Nah,
process is
we
coming.
could go lower. We could go lower,
We're
Mike.
not gonna go any lower, John. We've gone as low as we can get. The TNC
Wait.
boys, I'm pretty sure we should have an unpause soon.
Fairly soon.
Armel using the TNC pause time. Admin not forcing anything, giving TNC the choice to continue waiting, which is very nice, very polite of Armel to force the pause and give Signal Ultra a chance. I do appreciate that from Armel, I've got to say.
I do wonder what's up though. Like, did their line just really get cut? Okay, there we go. Will we see a pause back? No. Okay. And that's the end of that.
Dire's top
Signal
tower
got
is under
cut.
attack.
I saw that ending from miles.
Oh, March.
Well, they're not going for the kills on the heroes. Oh well,
They
they
are.
are now. Yeah, no, they kind of ignored Jamesy, but they're going on Van. All right.
Well, the
Oh.
game's... Oh.
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 Oh, no.
Oh, they're back.
I saw
They're
that
back.
ending from miles.
He pauses straight away. Uh-oh.
Oops. Well,
Guess who's back?
to be fair, they haven't really lost too much time there.
KP just took a tier 3 tower in that span of...
Yeah, but Oh, okay. Well, that was short-lived. That was very short-lived.
Oh no. So what do you do now? You just
You just
wait again,
unpause
maybe
again?
give it. No, I think you give him like 5 minutes, right? It's clear that.
No,
Oh,
no.
much.
Like on the rulebook,
I saw
if you're going strictly by the rulebook, this is just an unpause. Yeah.
You know, he's definitely in the right to unpause. I'm not saying that.
Dire's top barracks are under attack.
Anyway, it's fine. They've waited long enough. This game is over. Tins
God.
cleans up errors. I'm not sure if it's worth casting this, John. There's not really much going on. They are going to go straight to the tier 4s. They don't want to make this a spectacle.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
TNC.
It's under attack.
That's TNC to the majors. So last major champs do manage to secure that last spot. Rather anticlimactically, I have to tell you, the result might have been different. We'll never know due to circumstance. Signal, they gave up a good fight. This is really not the way you'd want that to go. And my God, that actually isn't a very good look. I